Welcome back to another Ministry of Truth. I'm your only host on this show. It's been a minute. Happy Meth Day, Short Bus. And, well, we're going to get into a few things today, news and stories-wise. But make sure you guys list the 5 things you did last week before midnight, or you're going to get fired, which is a really great idea, in my opinion, but it doesn't matter. Police. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and, well, adults. And if you're on here, you're probably on your parents' account, which is kind of fucked up, right? But, like I said, before we do anything, we got to start off with a music video before we get into the news. And this isn't really like a mainstream song. It's just more comedy, humor. That's allowed back now, right? Yeah.
Where is our money at?
With current and projected deficits, we need to cut expenditures by 32%.
Let's make it an even 40.
Oh, that's not necessary.
Slash it.
My administration will establish the brand new Department of Government Efficiency.
President Donald Trump's new Department of Government Efficiency, or DOGE for short,
Right.
officially established earlier this week after a first-day executive order. The new entity, which plans to try to slash billions in government spending, will operate as part of the executive branch, and they will have a congressional arm.
That is 19-year-old Edward Corstein, better known as
Big balls.
Big balls, big balls, big balls, big balls.
Time for Doge.
Now, the disruptor-in-chief, Elon Musk, who apparently has adopted the alias to Harry Balls.
Time for Doge.
I mean,
Department of Government Efficiency, an acronym that just so happens to spell Doge.
wow. Thank God he told me that.
They're just like you, and they're just like me.
Doge.
And he's running around and he thinks he's got a bank account with a lot of zeros in it. I don't think
I wish I had a
so.
bank account.
Look around. Government is overspending. Nobody knows where it goes. Where does it go? You cry, 'cause your bills are never ending. They tax you to the bone. Leave us alone. When government fails at efficiency, deficit gets bigger every day. I know some kids who wanna save the day. It's called the task force, and here's what it's for. So come on, Doge, make our money go where we choose it. Hey, come on, Doge, make that money go where we know we can use it. What we need is our own investigation. Corruption's to the core. There's so much more. They can't hide from their own extermination. It's what we voted for. It makes no difference who you're working for. If you're a temp or full-time. If you waste tax money, you'll be out that door. Yeah, you'll be on the streets. Control, delete, you know it. Come on, Doge, make our money go where we choose it. Hey, come on, Doge, make that money go where we know we can use it. Duties to your nation, not just to improve your station. So if you're part of the swamp, Doge is gonna take a big old chomp. That's not all to stop the sprawl. They're sitting in big balls. Come on, Doge, make our money go where we choose it. Hey, come on, Doge, make that money go where we know.
All right, there's a whole lot more song to that, but I'm getting tired of listening to it, so we'll get into the first story today. They're in no specific order because this is my Twitter looking through, but we're going to look through a little bit of X today. What up, Junie? And we're going to get educated, I guess. So first story, I'm not sure what it is.
And it's random.
Fuck it, I don't know. I'm not gonna pretend like I remember. It's been a little bit.
Abusive of federal workers, and it is just plain wrong.
And it's random. It's
abusive.
random.
It's abusive to
Yes,
get an email.
I do. I do think
It's
that.
abusive
I
to
think
get
the
a
way that
threatening
they
email.
are.
Sending
Yeah, I
it
think
to
the way
nobody.
that they are treating them.
Why? How is this?
Why?
How is this abusive?
Scott, have you
I
ever
saw-
gotten an
I
email
saw-
from someone that said, you
Yeah,
better do this or
Yes.
else you're going to resign?
Yeah, it's
From
called
someone-
having a
from
boss in the
someone
private
who's not
sector.
from someone who's not your boss?
Well,
yeah.
the White House is
Well-
every federal worker's boss.
The message came from OPM, which, by the way, is the Office of Personnel Management, which in turn is their boss.
That's number one.
Elon
Number
Musk
two-
is not anybody's
But
Number
boss.
two-
Not even our
ask you
legal
a question.
department.
Hold on, Scott, how is Elon going to evaluate? I mean, how is he going to evaluate the work of thousands of federal employees when he has no idea what
He's
they do?
not. The test was: are you even paying attention to your email? Are you
Well,
even
you
at
know,
your
some
terminal?
federal workers, he sent it on a weekend. Some federal workers do not have access to their emails on the weekends. They
Well,
just don't.
Did they go to work today?
That's full of shit. They can have access to the emails. If they work for the government, 9 times out of 10, they can read the fucking email off their phone. So I don't want to hear that bullshit. What's up, community cardio? Tell me, oh, they don't even check their emails. That was a thing. He was saying who was checking their emails.
I mean, look, the amount of outrage, melting down, and sort of outpouring of emotion over this ought to tell you everything you need to know. We had a lady on CNN today, a supposed federal worker, who said she was infuriated by getting this email. She had time to go on CNN, but she didn't have time to send a 30-second email saying, well, here's what I was working on last week. This is what people in the private sector have come to hate about how they view the public sector. And I think there's a great many very dedicated public servants. But you said, you know, it's about control. Yes, it's about control, and it's about finding out who is actually at their job working and who isn't, and do we need all these people?
How does sending this email? Well, I don't know. Are they checking their email? I don't know why I'm barking like that. It's a weird bark. No, I was definitely supposed to close this one. Give me a second. Where's the one we were just at? This is why you don't have too many fucking windows open, guys. Because now I don't know where the fuck. Found it. Found it. Alright, moving on. Now that they're going through and Doge is, you know, just checking out shit, making sure shit's up and up. What happens when you have a senator from Delaware? Rhode Island. Dear Senator Langford and Senator Coons. Wow, such a racist email already. The Foundation for Accountability and Civics Trust, FACT, is a nonprofit organization dedicated to promoting accountability, ethics, and transparency in government and civic arenas. Sounds kind of like Doge. We request the Senate Select Committee on Ethics investigate Senator Sheldon Whitehouse to determine whether he violated the Senate ethics rules on conflicts of interest. Oh no! What could that possibly mean? Facts. Senator Whitehouse's wife, Sandra Whitehouse, has worked for the advocacy group Ocean Conservancy since 2008. According to tax filings, Ocean Conservancy has paid Sandra Whitehouse through her consulting firm Ocean Wonks LLC since 2017, and paid her directly prior to that. Since 2008, Ocean Conservancy, I don't know, has been awarded 19 government grants with approximately $14.2 million. However, nearly half of that $14 million was given to the group in fall of 2024 alone, all of which Senator Whitehouse directly voted for in September 2024. Ocean Conservancy received $5.2 million federal grants from the National Oceanic. There's more to it, but yeah. Oh. Senator Langford, Whitehouse, my bad. Got some explaining to do there, buddy. You should, anyway. Moving on. No, not that one. So this one came out. It's from, apparently, there's no apparently, it is from the, I guess, a secret messaging service through the NSA. So we're going to read just the page of this right here. And this is from Chris Rufo, whatever, leaked. And this is what's actually happening right now as of 1/24/2025. No names. Obviously, they want to redact pieces of shit, but I'm pretty sure Kristi Noem's going to take care of them. If she doesn't, then fucking Tulsi Gabbard will. Blank. Already did. Also, flu shot. I was worried about the continued availability of them under the current circumstances, given the status of the inbrained wormed person that is potentially going to be in charge of healthcare. She means RFK. Or he. Or they, them. Well, actually, it's not they, them anymore. Don't think vaccines are going anywhere, friend. I guess that's friend. That's too much to read. But basically, yeah, they're saying that, you know, this shit's going to go away because of RFK. And that they're going to do everything within their powers, within these agencies, to prevent it. Now, why would they do that? Are they doing things wrong? Oh, this is a good one. This happened, shit, not that long ago. It just took me like a couple hours to finally get up to doing this because I was bored. Or, not bored, but this happened in Chicago earlier today. More closely, 8:48 Central Standard Time. Plane coming in for a landing. See this? Oh yeah, touchdown. Hey, whoa! Whoa, 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 whoa! What the fuck? Y'all see that? That wasn't even in the road. You can't blame AT. Well, you can. That wasn't even in the air. The plane had to go back up. Good thing he didn't hit his brakes yet. Ooh. Everybody knows our favorite congressman from Texas, right? Eye Patch McCain here. Oh, fucker. Well, let's listen to what Eye Patch McCain was saying in a meeting that I'm pretty sure he didn't want out.
Have you ever met Tucker?
We've talked a lot. If I ever meet him, I'll find him. He's the worst person.
So not secretly, it was a hot mic moment where he basically said he wants to kill Elon. I mean, that sounds like a threat on someone's life. Dan, you're a congressman. You should know better. Wonder how Navy SEALs would feel about that one, Dan. Oh. Yo. Watching these liberal fucking meltdowns are amazing. It's even worse when they lie.
Can someone please just take one for the team and...
Wrong video. This is similar to the last one. Dan, you and this lady should hook up. Dan.
Do the thing.
Pink cilantro. Dan.
We will all put money on your books. I promise.
I ain't
Just
put money on
go. Come on. Go. Do it. Go.
In case that wasn't clear, she was talking about Trump. Oh, court, but that was vague. Come here. In her comments, this H-bomb says, it's gotta be both, though. Then she says, oh, I think we've got a list of 4 until we get to the one that's halfway decent, plus the unelected weirdo running amok. So that's 5. Who could she be talking about? Then there's this one, where Kerrigan says she'll be pardoned. Then she responded saying the violent J6 criminals got pardoned, so why not? So that confirms, you were talking about the person who pardoned them. Just own it. You just offered a financial contract to unalive the commander-in-chief. If that's not enough for you, there was this one. You could pause to read it. Then there's this one saying she doesn't want it to go viral because she doesn't want to get a visit from the FBI at her door. Somebody get this video over to Kash Patel. It sounds like she needs a visit. Oh, and there were these comments on there as well. Follow, repost.
You've got congressmen calling for assassinations on both sides. Hear me out. Apparently, both sides don't like. Oh, that was Tucker Carlson from the beginning. Dan was talking about Tucker. They're talking about Elon and Donald and RFK and Tulsi, Cash, Dan Bongino. Now, this is a story I've been talking about to my buddies a lot lately, especially with this supposed audit of going on at Fort Knox for the gold. Fort Knox hasn't been audited in over 100 years.
Press. It doesn't.
When I was there as a kid. Obviously, the tour wasn't inside, but I was told there was actually no gold at Fort Knox. No gold. It's just there.
So Fort Knox is one of the places, the physical places in the United States where we're told our gold is stored.
We're going to go into Fort Knox to make sure the gold is there.
Members of Congress, almost all of them with the last name Paul, have been calling for an audit of Fort Knox for, just decades. And if you really press, it doesn't look like Fort Knox has been actually audited for close to 100 years, since the 30s. I think that's right. They said it was audited in the 70s, but it wasn't actually audited. Why is it so hard with a federal workforce, including contractors like 10 million people, to just go through the contents of the vaults and weigh them and make sure that they're not gold-plated titanium and make sure they're all there and then figure out who owns them? Why is that so hard? We're told, oh, that's too complicated. Really?
I want to say after World War II, we had 18,000 tons of gold, official gold. And by the time we got to call it 71, we were down to the 8,100 we have today. And
no way. So Fort Knox is one of the places.
Well, there's no gold. Something I was told as a kid that, obviously people have been saying, oh, there's gold there. There's gold there. The guy that I know at that time, who's one of my mom's soldiers, he let us know. But that's besides the point. What's up, Yeti? Excuse me. So everybody's all mad about, the former eBay owner who had all their information. And now they're, oh no, he's stealing our information from the IRS. Huh. Apparently something went under the radar last year that Byron Donalds is letting us know about now. Because a report just came out recently. Haven't seen the report, but, whatever. It is what it is.
No, it has nothing to do with that. It has to do with this very simple thing. They love the massive bloat and waste because it's like you said, Mark, they get to fit all of their little pet projects underneath the covers where nobody can see it. You got Stacey Abrams and one of her climate fund groups is supposed to get...
Yeah, this is the crazy thing. I'm glad he brought it up. Stacey Abrams, everybody's favorite loser from Georgia, right? So she has a foundation that was supposedly given $2 billion. However, when this foundation filed taxes, they only said they received $100. So where did the money go, Stacey? Where did the money go, Stacey?
$2 billion, when if you look at their tax returns, their revenue is only $100, and they're getting $2 billion. This is the kind of stuff. They're so upset about Elon Musk and the Doge team having access to the Internal Revenue Service data into the Treasury payment system. But there's a report that came out the other day that under Joe Biden, he let 53 researchers and students, unpaid people, go in and actually have full access.
Researchers and students at the IRS? For what?
to the data of the American people at the IRS. Joe Biden's administration let that happen. So they have no problem with the waste and the fraud and the abuse as long as their special interest groups are being funded and their ideology is being promoted regardless of the will of the American people. But our country can't simply survive that. We are very thankful that Donald Trump and his team are saying enough is enough. They are going to save this nation for the American people and begin.
Rumor is Byron Donalds plans on running for Florida governor. Speaking of state governors, Ohio might actually get a real governor in their next election. And the guy running already has huge endorsements. Mr. Ramaswamy. Governor Ramaswamy. God damn it. Oh, that's going to be for a different day. All right. So, a lot of y'all know that I don't really like AI and robots and, Elon with all that shit that he's trying to do. With making everything automated, I guess. And some reasons I could see automation being better. I need to save this for later. But I don't trust it. Maybe I'm a conspiracy theorist. Maybe I've watched one too many movies. But when I saw this, bro. That's the game.
What?
What? You need a vehicle that's is bigger than
What? The Tesla van
is this is we're going to make this, and it's gonna look like that.
Oh my gosh! Of course we're gonna make this.
And you see this coming towards you. That's sick.
That shit's
This can
crazy.
carry up to 20 people and can also transport goods. So you can configure it for goods transport within the city or.
Let it play again.
What?
You need a vehicle that's is bigger than
What? What is that?
The Tesla van!
What is that? Let's take a look. What is that? Wait a second. What is that? Oh. Maybe it's
Manual
local.
override engaged.
Maybe it's a fueler. Maybe it's a car. Wait a fucking second.
There's no way my luck is that bad.
Wait a fucking second. Is that Elon's robot too? Got some explaining to do there, Elon. Huh. I'm just saying. Oh, wow. I got a copyright just for that 51 seconds. Holy shit. Well, YouTube's fucking... Oh, my God. Fuck you, YouTube. All right. While that goes away, let's get into what we were doing earlier. And for those of you that know, maybe you've been living on a rock for a few months, but Kamala Harris, the former vice president and presidential failure, She finally won something. Holy shit, she finally won something. Let's hope her speech is very inspirational.
Kamala Harris didn't win the presidency, but she did win the next best thing, an NAACP Image Award.
She was always of Indian heritage, and she was only promoting Indian heritage. I didn't know she was black until a number of years ago when she happened to turn black, and now she wants to be known as black. So I don't know, is she Indian or is she black?
Let's listen to the chairman of the organization, Leon Russell.
Doesn't love a yellow school bus. I'm excited about electric school buses. I just love them.
Electric school buses? Elon?
Who doesn't love a yellow school bus? They will remain yellow, but their heart will be green.
On an electric bus, no exhaust. The importance of a quiet engine. It helps the drivers hear the road.
What if the engine's in the back? Kamala? What if the engine's in the back?
Sorry, I got a little distracted.
Please welcome the recipient of the NAACP Chairman's Award, Vice.
Oh, is Kamala Muslim? No, real question. Is she Muslim? Have you ever seen her wear something that's like not completely covering her entire body? Maybe I'm just imagining things, but it seemed like she's always got something on, especially covering her neck.
To seek the truth.
Like the fires of Los Angeles.
What goes through your mind when you see this? You're here, you're now seeing it up close.
Okay, so she does show her neck.
It's not only seeing it, Alex, you can smell it.
No
you
shit.
can feel it, right? So it's seeing it with our eyes, and many people
Listen,
have seen it.
I'm so glad Kamala's make sure we go through all the senses for this LA fire.
Are covering it.
Did you feel
but
it?
to literally be on the ground here, you can smell.
You hear it?
The smoke that was here. You can feel the toxicity, frankly, of the environment.
You can feel toxicity of an environment? I'm gonna have to look that up. I'm gonna have to master that.
You can feel the energy of all of the folks who are still here on the ground.
What? Where am I getting? Oh, okay. I just didn't get rid of the message. Woo! Scared me. So let me check something, because as I was watching that, I remembered something. So, do I really want to play it? How long is it? It's The Art of the Dialogue, and they were talking to Dr. Umar. By the way, Dr. Umar is a really racist motherfucker, right? No. I'll probably play that next time. Where he basically said Kamala Harris isn't black. He did some research and found out that she's Indian, not black. And that in India, or in Jamaica, Indians were the slave owners. Which, that's weird. India is the slave owners in Jamaica. And that basically, she's a slave owner. Which the stories that Candace came out with pretty much verifies that. Now let's move on to Doge.
So we're at an event in D.C. We're at CPAC. Afterwards, we go to a Doge party at this beautiful penthouse. What was it? 5-story penthouse of Dwight Howard that the new guy, a Bitcoin guy, I don't want to say his name, he bought. So beautiful property. You're going there. We're at the top. And by the way, Tico got it at 13 years old. He got it, so he's kind of like hanging out. He goes up, mustache let him in.
The mustache
And he's tall and he's got big hands, big feet, so they're kind of like, this guy must be at least 18 years old, so they let him in. We go into this place. We're walking up. Him and Tom are at the top on a rooftop. Shout out to Tom. Tom, they're chanting. Keep fascists out of D.C. Fascists out of D.C. And then you got Tom and Tico from the top. They're chanting. What are they chanting?
Give fascism a chance. Give fascism a chance.
So, anyways, I'm coming up. I'm like, Tom's either being a bad influence on Tico or something's going on. So we're like, okay, guys, we got to go get the plane because we got back at 1:30 in the morning. So we get down. While we walk down, I want to walk up to these guys to see what they're all about. Rob, is this the tweet or is this my video? Which one is this? This is your video?
This is my video.
The other video, Rob. So play this and then go to the other one. I see what you're doing. Go for it. So I just walk up to this guy to say, what are you upset about? That's me, that's Brandon.
There's our service agent.
So cops come in, and he can't answer me anything while I'm asking him questions, okay? And then, boom, he spits on the federal agent's back. Boom.
Whoa.
See right there on the back? Okay. Go to the other clip. Obviously, he gets arrested. If you go to the Twitter one, there's a different clip. He gets arrested, and he gets arrested afterwards. Guys are connecting me and texting me and saying, hey, Pat, you should file this. You should go sue this guy. You should do that. You should do this. And by the way, this is a different angle. Go a little bit lower. Mario Nafal put the clip. Go a little bit lower, a little bit lower, a little bit lower, a little bit lower.
So a white guy
right there. Okay, so
that's freedom.
Not a good look.
Just the tweet.
Zoom in on Mario's clip, Rob, if you could. Yeah, go. So
I wouldn't show that
zoom out a little. What'd you say?
I have Freedom News.
We gotta be
okay,
careful
got it,
with that.
got it. Okay, sounds good. So, anyways, so the question becomes, what are they complaining about? Are they complaining about Doge doing what? Firing people that are government employees who are maybe not working. One guy came up to me with a mask, screaming like angry, just going like this.
How many of those people are actually federal workers that are fucking out there protesting? Probably none. But if they are out there protesting but they haven't shown up to work, I mean, can you put that on your 5 things that you did last week?
Realize these are paid agitators.
Thank you.
These are not people that are protesting. By the way, Rob, do me a favor. Play the clip that's in the notes section that I have of Bill Clinton. You tell me who this person sounds like. This is Bill Clinton.
Yeah, pay very close attention.
I want to say this is 93. Okay. Look what he's talking about. This is maybe.
And what is happening right now is exactly what I wanted. We need to cut government. We save money. We need to pull out of all European countries. We'll save trillions.
The OG Doge, and the Democrats applauded him for doing.
I don't know if I was talking to you guys or not, but we paid $30 million more as a country than the entire European, NATO, whatever, paid Ukraine for their war. We paid $30 million more as a country than an entire continent.
Go ahead, Rob. Play this clip.
We cut the federal government by more than 100,000 positions in the last 2 years.
Oh, okay.
We're on the way to reducing it with laws already passed by 272,000 positions.
Oh, really?
Making it the smallest it's been in more than 30 years.
Oh, wow. So you're firing people.
We cut taxes for 15 million working families with 40 million Americans in it. About an average of $1,000 apiece for families of 4 with incomes under $26,000
There you go.
this
That's
year.
good. Good.
We made 9 of 10
Watch
of our
this.
small businesses eligible.
$26,000. When I first joined the Army, I think I was making $18,000 a year.
For tax reductions.
Respect.
We invested in the tools our people need in education and training and technology.
I got elected the tail end
We
of
did
this
more to
house.
open markets in the last 2 years than in any previous
I
period
joined on the tail end
in a
of this.
generation.
Okay.
The results are clear.
Doge.
The deficit
We're down
from
there
2
yet,
years
too.
ago was projected to be over $400 billion a year by the end of the decade, is now under $200 billion. It's going down for 3 years in a row for the first time since Truman was president.
Respect.
The economic plan we have already.
Wait a second. So the government was shrunk when Clinton was president, but then the government inflated and our deficit inflated when the Pentagon and DOD were audited and billions were missing. And then we will know what happened that, September.
Passed will cut the deficit in half as a percentage of our economy.
Okay.
We have almost 6 million new jobs, the biggest year in economic growth in 1994 in a decade, with 93% of those jobs in the private sector. That's the largest percentage of private sector
Who's he
job
sound like
growth
to you?
going.
Who's he sound like to you when you're listening to
A little bit
this?
like Trump.
Like a
Trump,
JFK, someone who has common
he
sense.
should sue them for copyright. Like he's stealing. They
That's
stole.
crazy when you think
his-
about
this-
it. Like, you listen to Democrats back in those days. They wait a second. That don't sound like democratic values. Things have changed.
But by the way, they loved him then,
Yeah.
right? And his Speaker of the House was who? Newt Gingrich,
Yeah.
which was a
Newt.
Man of the Year on the cover of Time magazine. But I want you to watch this other clip. I want to play this to see where the controversy is. Here's Barack Obama in 2008. Play this clip. Tell me who this sounds like. Go ahead.
The Bush administration has done nothing to control the problem that we have. We've had 5 million undocumented workers come over the borders since George Bush took office.
Racist.
It has become an
Yeah.
extraordinary problem.
Yeah.
And the reason the American people are concerned is because they are seeing their own economic position slip away. And oftentimes, employers are exploiting these undocumented workers. They're not paying the minimum wage. They're not observing worker safety laws. And so what we have to do is create a comprehensive solution to the problem.
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah.
I have already
You can pause it
stated
right
that as
there.
president,
It's interesting. You hear him.
That fucking racist. I knew it. I fucking knew it. Obama was a racist. He didn't like illegal immigrants. He didn't like Hispanic people. He didn't like them. But wait. But he was a golden boy. Or bronze.
You hear Clinton. You hear them saying that, and that's what Doge, Trump, Musk, Homan are doing. What are you upset about, Brandon?
Yeah, no, it's interesting too. I mean, you see clips of Hillary; she literally sounds more conservative than Trump. Like, so when she's debating Obama with this and all that. So this is an example of how far left the left has moved. For people who say they used to be in the middle, they ended up on the right now because things shifted to that degree. And I think they're importing these people like this because they see that playing out. And interesting thing about Clinton during his presidency was the only year in the last 70 years where we had a surplus. I sent Rob a chart where there's this little blip on it. Every single year we're in a deficit. That one time when Clinton was president, it's the only time we had a surplus ever since I think like 1960, 1950. So I mean, I don't see a single positive thing that you or a single negative thing you criticize about Doge.
That's the chart, Brandon.
Yeah. So look at that. That's what Clinton was talking about.
Look at
right
that
there.
chart. Look at that beautiful
I love
chart.
charts.
Right
It's a
there.
beautiful chart.
Only
No,
time.
by the way, Rob, can you circle around what era he's talking about?
Yeah,
That's the
Go
only time.
right
It was the mid
there.
90s.
Look at that.
Huge
Yeah,
drop.
only time.
There's COVID, I bet. Bet you that's COVID.
Bill Clinton was the only president to balance the budget. We had no deficit under Clinton.
Yeah, because he was hooked.
So Clinton, but the global war on terrorism, the first 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 years, didn't really bloat the deficit. But look at Obama. Holy fuck. And then not again until 2020. Unless that's 2021. Either way, Jesus Christ.
Then up with somebody other than Hillary in the
Listen,
White House.
buddy,
He was
if
happy.
you want to save trillions of dollars, I don't care who he hooks up with.
Yeah.
So it's an easy joke. That's the whole thing with Clinton. Everyone thinks of Clinton as he's sort of like a laugh line. Oh, Clinton, he likes things under the desk in the Oval Office. Listen, buddy,
Cigarettes, blue
James
dresses.
Carvey, who we're talking about one time, he says, what didn't you like about the 90s under Clinton? Did you not like the peace or the prosperity? Which one? Every country wants the same thing, peace and prosperity. We were doing great under Clinton. We've come a long way since Clinton. Now, as far as this whole situation with
That was
CPAC
before I
and
was
Doge and
really
like that,
politicking.
it was actually an awesome time. Thank you for the opportunity, Pat. It was sick. I'm holding the schedule of events. So
That's
Javier
crazy.
Milei
It's
speaks.
like, back when, Clinton was elected president, I really didn't watch a lot of news. I was a kid. But even when I was in high school, I paid attention, but not really. It's not really till like the internet where Pete's shit was actually being shown in real time. It's crazy.
Some guy named Patrick Bet David gets up and speaks, you know, crushes it. Secretary Doug, want to give my best friend a hug, Doug Burgum. Then Tom Homan comes out there, freaking rock star.
That one was awesome.
Was a star.
Could have been drunk, don't care. Let's get stuff done. Giorgia Maloney, she comes in from Italia, she zooms in. Elise Stefanik gets out there, she's crushing it. She's kind of
Argentina.
good looking, by the way. Anyway, then Donald Trump came out there and did a 90-minute, I don't know, I would call
Improv
it a stand-up comedy
Damn
act.
right,
You're stupid,
damn.
you're gay, you're great,
Damn
everyone's
right.
awesome. Boom. We had an awesome time, and then we end up going to this Doge party. And it's so funny.
Definitely going to check in more into the requirements because it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting. I'm not shaving or getting a haircut, but I will run.
Like, you know, I'm all about juxtaposition. Like, one thing's one thing. We walk in,
I think I got
and young Tico, God bless Tico,
like
he's turned into
10,000
such a stud. I didn't know about him when he was younger. He's getting there. We walk in, he goes,
Or is it
he goes,
1,000?
I just want to go to someplace quiet. I don't want to be in for the party. You know, if Dylan was there, he's like, where the party at? You know that. So Tico walks in, I just want to go someplace quiet. And we're looking for a little place to go out. I'm like, I take him to like a little room. He's by himself. He's like, I don't want to hear by myself. I'm like, you're at a party, dude. So we get in there. 5 minutes later, there's protesters. Let's get to the room. He's up there. He's doing the Trump dance. But these guys, they don't have anything going. Like, they have no semblance. So it's like the guy who got arrested is.
I'm going to do it. God damn it. If I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it on my own dime. My own. I'm going to rob Fort Knox.
It's like, what are you in for, buddy? Spitting. Yeah, I spit a little bit on this podcast guy. They don't know what they're yelling about. They have no clue what they're talking about. And it's just, they're just raw emotion, piss and vinegar. They have zero facts. Everyone should want to save money. Everyone would try to limit liabilities. Everyone should want to limit our expenditures. But
What if I hit that city council like Doge? Oh my God. There's tons of shit about this city I need to find out about and why they're taking away so much of nature.
they just hate Elon and they hate Trump.
Do they even
So
hate him,
whatever
though?
he does, Trump derangement syndrome. Did you see what Elon said about when he's sitting at a dinner party and Trump comes up? Because people just, it's like, it's almost they get like tranquilizer dart in your neck, bro.
Yeah.
And they start convulsing and get rabies. These people hate Trump so much, they'd rather the government suffer rather than have him succeed.
But here's the thing, too, guys. I tried to put myself in, put yourself in their shoes, meaning the federal employees and then the leadership. Okay, the employees. Can you imagine? You're getting paid $100,000 a year and you don't do shit. You don't do nothing.
No,
Then all of a
think about
sudden,
it. Every Friday I would do an oak tree counseling, pull all the soldiers and, what did y'all do this week? What'd you do this week? What'd you do this week? What do you got going on next week? That's what I did. So it's basically doing what the federal government's supposed to be doing. Right? I mean, if you didn't do something, I'd definitely let you know. Just like in recruiting. In recruiting, you literally have to break down hour by hour by hour what you're going to do a week out. Sometimes 2 weeks out. Hour by hour. And then you have to report. You got to go into the system saying, yeah, I did this. I was here from this time to this time. Come on.
a real boss comes in. He appoints Elon Musk, who is numbers guy, hires guys named Big Balls that are just in there looking for that shit. And you're about to lose your job. Of course you're gonna get
Benny's
furious.
probably
Of
the
course
most
you're gonna get mad.
animated one.
And then the leadership, Bernie Sanders, upper lip doesn't move, and all those guys, bro, they get all the kickbacks, all the money. So when you start taking the money, it's like in the movie Casino. When you start messing with the mafia's money and their take, what? He goes, you mean they're skimming off the top? What do you mean? Go there and they kill everybody. They're furious that the money's
send
losing.
Joe Pesci in
Yeah,
there.
yeah,
They put
exactly.
your head in a
but
meat
we're
grinder.
winning. And guys, and I said this before, it's gonna hurt. This winning is going to freaking hurt, but who gives a shit? We have to have it. It has to happen.
The paid agitators take is really interesting. And, I wouldn't have considered it, but it actually does make a lot of sense because we've come so far since the woke mind virus was cranked up to the most absurd extent possible. We're course correcting on a lot of things. The fact that people are still upset about some things that should be just be so blatantly obvious, it could only make sense if there were funding behind the scenes or paid agitators to keep everybody inflamed, because at this point it just doesn't make sense why people would be so pissed off about this stuff, especially the thing about report on what you're doing for your job. That's something that every single industry should incorporate into their business structure to some extent. I know that's something that I need to do every single week. I need to report on what I do. If government workers who are making, as Vinny said, potentially six-figure incomes or have other interests that are paying them, can't even outline like 5 things that they could do. Yeah, no, kick them out, kick them all out.
Well, watch this here. So while we're going through this, these guys are saying, send us an email of what you did last week. We want to know, right? Send us an email. So Elon Musk says, bar is very low after ordering federal employees to fill out productivity reports or resign. Basic question he's asking, right? Musk says federal workers must detail what they've done or risk lose their jobs. There's a Wall Street Journal story. Overseas.
Fun story. One of those OPM messages, not this one, but the early option 8-month out. My wife got one of those emails. 2 million people got that email. Right? Only 75,000 responded. And now look, all these cuts to fucking useless people who haven't done their job in fucking since God knows when. And when this whole remote shit went remote, came online, dude, you're a federal worker. You should be in the office just like every other elected official, like every other member of the military, the guys that, are here to protect the fact that you get to stay home and complain that you have to go to work now, or that if you don't say what you did last week, you're going to get fired. Dude, it takes 30 fucking seconds to say what you did last week, right? You need 5 things. Took shower. I shit. I ate. I played Civilization. I streamed once. It's 5 things.
The Department of Doge under Trump announced that all federal employees will shortly receive an email requesting to understand what they got done last week and warned that failure to respond will be taken as a resignation. The Office of Personnel Management, OPM.
It may be, but at one point you need to be seen face to face. Like I said, I don't trust people to do what they're told from home. I don't. If you have to have them in a building, good. They're already there. They're already there. What are you going to do? Just let them dilapidate and fucking rot? They're already there. Make the motherfuckers go to work. Shit.
Confirmed employees must submit 5 bullets of what you accomplished last week by Monday night, though some agencies, including the FBI under Director Kash Patel, have instructed employees to pause any responses while reviewing the directive. The order has triggered confusion and legal scrutiny across federal agencies with officials at the Department of Justice and Health and Human Services.
I don't know if this was before or after. I know they, I guess they came out and said they got an extension. Maybe I was mislistening, but yeah, I heard that because, I listen to shit in the background now.
Employees not to respond. Sean Kevney, acting general.
Listen, Yeti, you and I both know that not everybody works the same way. You know what I mean?
House at HHS called the demand personally insulting after working over 70 hours advancing administration priorities. Everett Kelly, president of American Federal Government Employees, warned that the union will challenge any lawful terminations of our members and federal employees across the country. This morning, I'm reading an article from 2017, Kellogg, Kellogg School. Kellogg is...
That's the problem, though, Yeti. They weren't. They weren't. I wonder why. What went away? Now they're going to hire the best of, the people based on merit. That's what they're going to start doing. Supposedly. And that's why all the cuts. Now, are these cuts permanent? That's one question I want to know. Like, I know during the past 4 years, we got 81,000 new IRS agents. What if, since the IRS actually has the biggest budget out of the entire, U.S. government for ammo, interesting, why don't we put them on the streets? Use them for something that we need people. Border control, border patrol, police officers. I guess maybe because federal pays for these cops and not state and local officials, but still, man. Oh, and by the way, if you didn't get your tax refund, it's not because of those cuts. And it's still early. It's still early.
It's known as one of the best marketing schools out there. Rob, if you can go to the story here.
Oh.
If you can just go to the story, click on.
Now, Yeti, my question is, does your old lady work for the government or does your old lady work for a company?
On the link below.
That's
Watch
at
this one
Northwestern,
here.
is it not? Or
It's
is
a
it Coors
very,
Kellogg?
very, very respectful school. Sitting near a high performer can make you better at your job. It's called a spillover from certain coworkers can boost our productivity or jeopardize our employment. What are they saying? Go a little bit lower to read this a little closer. The people we sit near at work inevitably impact our day. They may brighten our mood or drive us crazy. So for me, like I have a problem here, right? 25. What's more, our work neighbors can actually change how we do at our jobs. Researchers looked at the 25-foot radius around high performers at a large technology firm and found that these workers boosted performers in coworkers by
Another way
15.
for them to monitor their people because they pay health insurance. Maybe. You can't really tell if somebody's looking unhealthy over a Zoom meeting.
15%. That spillover, positive spillover, translated into an estimated $1 million in additional annual profits, according to new research from Dylan Miner, an assistant professor at managerial economics and
Again.
decision sciences at
Just
Kellogg.
read it again. Yeti, does she work for the federal government or does she work for a private company?
Now watch this here, how this continues. So 25 feet radius, 15% positive, okay? Watch the opposite. The flip side is that bad eggs impact their neighbors too. Negative spillovers from so-called toxic coworkers is even more pronounced, sometimes having twice the magnitude of impact on profits as positive spillover. Yet while this toxic spillover happens very quickly, it also dissipates almost immediately once that worker is either fired or relegated to the far physical reaches of the company. You can stop with the story here. What is this story about? If you think about a lady this morning, Crystal, who her and I connect a lot, she connected me today to...
I'm talking about federal workers. God damn it. I'm sorry I didn't put the screen up. I'm talking about federal workers, not private companies. They can do whatever the fuck they want. I'm talking about federal government.
Speak to her son, 13-year-old son. I've met him before. So I sent him a message this morning on the drive here talking to him about what it is to be 13 years old. Yeah, I've been talking to my boys right now about a book I'm reading called Aggressive Girls and Clueless Boys. Every father with boys has to read this book because nowadays girls are approaching guys about sex and flirting versus it used to be the other way around. We had to. Today, girls are the ones that are more aggressive. If you have a son, do whatever you can. Don't look at the ratings. Just go read this book. It's 80 pages. You must read this book. Every parent, it's very necessary for you to read this book. It's 136 pages. So I'm talking to this kid about one of the most basic things you can do in life at early ages to win is choose your friends wisely. Later on in your career, one of the best things you can do in your life is choose your bosses, the company you work with, and your coworkers wisely. You do, you'll grow. You'll do better. You don't, you'll hate the company. You'll hate your boss. You'll be angry at everybody. You'll be walking on eggshells like, oh my God, I can't believe this. And you're thinking it's you, it's somebody else. Now, don't get me wrong. Some people in life are crap magnets. There are people that purely are crap magnets. They cannot help themselves but constantly attract negativity and problems in your life. You got to do whatever you can to avoid those folks. But if you can simply decide to attract better people in your life can improve in every possible way. Many years ago,
Shut up.
I wanted to learn how to be a better networker. There was a guy I would work a room with, and I would want.
Hello, everybody.
Oh, that just gave away what we're watching next. Ugh. I don't understand. If the federal workers don't come to work, right? Like they don't want to, what's going to stop them from developing an AI code to replace them? Elon already has Grok. What's going to stop them from replacing these people? Don't know. Don't know.
Thank you for that introduction, and thank you for minding the agency during my confirmation process. I'm very, very happy to be here today. I'm proud that President Trump has appointed me to the position of trust to carry out his agenda to make America healthy again. This is the mission that President Trump and I hold in common, and that has inspired a tectonic outpouring of enthusiasm and support from the American people. It's not difficult to understand why. In the U.S., 6 out of every 10 adults have at least one chronic disease, and 4 in 10 have 2 or more. The U.S. has the highest age-standardized cancer incident rate among 204 countries in the world, nearly double the next highest rate. Asthma.
One thing I noticed about RFK and all these liberal, even maybe some little conservatives, think that he's going to get rid of vaccines. He's going to get rid of prescription medications. He's not doing that. He's going to make you healthier by cleaning up what's going into you as far as non-pharmaceuticals. How do I say this? Because, like, I think he says it later, our life expectancy is not well under the rest of the world, but it's under what the rest of the world is. When I feel like with all the technology and advancements we have, we should be living longer and healthier. But we're not, because of the food we're eating. And I'm guilty of it. I'm guilty. But I don't plan on living, into my 90s. Or do I? Well, I have a choice.
Autoimmune diseases are far more common in the U.S. than in any other part of the world. Prior to COVID, American life expectancy averaged 7.8 years. That's about 4 years shorter than comparable countries. Autism now affects 1 in every 36 kids, a more than 4-fold increase over past decades. 18% of teens suffer from fatty liver disease. Nearly 38% are diabetic or pre-diabetic, and more than 40% are overweight or obese. These conditions were virtually unheard of when my uncle was president, 1960 to 1963, when I was a 10-year-old boy. The sperm counts and testosterone are down about 50% in American boys. And
it's the food. Or as Alex Jones would say, it's the fucking water. So much estrogen gets put in that water because of birth control.
Girls are reaching puberty 6 years earlier than historical generations. Our only solution to these issues seems to be more and more pharmaceutical interventions that don't seem to be alleviating the problem, and in many cases appear to be worsening it. Over-medication, particularly in children, is a growing issue. More than 3.4 million American children are currently taking medication for ADD and ADHD, and yet numbers continue to rise. President Trump has asked me to reverse the epidemic of chronic disease. The way to do that is to bring HHS to its full potential as the steward of the American healthcare system. That is the mission that I want to share with you. I have a vivid memory visiting NIH when I was a boy. My mother, a woman who worked for my mother, had a husband who was an NIH scientist. And when I was that age, I wanted to be a scientist. And he would bring me to NIH, to the labs, to look at the rats and the guinea pigs, and to look through the microscopes. And for me, that was an extraordinary thrill to see scientists who were engaged in this existential search for existential truths, and who were working to make our country stronger and to make our people stronger.
Yo, tell me how last week we had snow, temperatures in the teens, freezing everything, and now today, a little bit of yesterday, it's 70 fucking degrees. I love Tennessee. I love the South.
Those were different times. America was at the apex of its power and prestige, and all the world looked to us for leadership. This was particularly true of NIH and CDC and FDA. They provided the gold standard of science and research, trusted the world over. They produced scientific heroes like Bernice Eddy, Sarah Elizabeth Stewart, and Frances Kelsey. Frances Kelsey was, of course, the young FDA scientist who, through her own stubbornness and integrity, saved our country from the scourge of thalidomide and left a wake of grim birth defects and grotesque mutations and deformities across Europe. In 1962, my uncle John F. Kennedy honored Stewart with the President's Award for Distinguished Federal Civilian Service, the government's highest civilian honor. The greatness of NIH was rooted in its unimpeachable integrity. It truly deserved the reputation for conducting science in the public interest. Countries that didn't have their own research institution, for example, the new countries of post-colonial Africa, trusted American science so much, and many of them wrote into their own laws, if the FDA approved it, then it's approved in our country as well.
Christ.
I want the agencies under
Weren't they 9 times out of 10 like the test dummies? The lab rats? Oh, we're going to give you this. It's supposed to help, with malaria. So everybody come get this shot. Yeah.
HHS to earn that,
Even though there's no
level
vaccine
of
for
global
malaria.
trust. And what is the path to public trust? The path to trust is always through transparency. Transparency is the foundation of science, and it is the foundation of democracy. I think it's significant that an overwhelming majority of the men who signed the Declaration of Independence, who were this nation's founding fathers, were also citizen scientists. These included Thomas Jefferson, George Washington, John Adams, James Madison, Benjamin Franklin, Benjamin Rush, a physician, Julian Bartlett, a physician, Matthew Thornton, a physician, and Oliver Wolcott, a physician. Science and democracy were born together during the Enlightenment, and they share the same ideals for openness, for public access, and for transparency. Though science and democracy flourish from the free and unimpeded flow of information, no one trusts science that isn't transparent about its research hypothesis, its raw data, or its conflicts of interest. No one trusts a government built on lies, on secrets, on cover-ups, and propaganda. That's why my uncle famously observed that the word secrecy is repugnant to a free and open society. Healthcare policy has been the subject of intense controversy for 20 years. But have you noticed that the controversy is almost entirely about who pays for it? Republicans and Democrats fight these ferocious battles on Capitol Hill, and it's always about who to shift the burden of paying for it And for me, I've said before, this is like moving deck chairs around on the Titanic. Our health is getting worse and worse. And when the total costs are over $4 trillion as they are now, there is no good solution, only less bad ones. We need to start asking a very different question. Regardless of who pays, why are we paying so much? Well, which is, by the way, 2 to 3 times what European nations pay for better, for worse health outcomes.
Yeah.
Well, corruption and efficiency may be part of it. But the main reason is quite simply that Americans are very, very sick. We are, in fact, the sickest nation on earth with the highest chronic disease burden in the world or in the history of the world. During COVID, we had in this country 16% of the global COVID deaths. We only have 4.2% of the world's population. So something we were doing was utterly wrong.
Well,
and the CDC says that's because we're the sickest people in the world. They say that the average American who died from COVID had 3.8 chronic diseases. So were they dying from COVID or were they dying from chronic disease? According to some estimates, 90% of healthcare spending today goes toward managing chronic disease. When my uncle was president, it was 0. We didn't even have drugs for chronic disease then. And now it's become a burden that's threatening to sink our country. So my main mission at HHS, in which I hope that you will all join me, is to reverse the chronic disease epidemic in America. How are we going to do that? It isn't by replacing one paradigm with another one by force.
How about teaching
I'm not
people
going to come in here and impose my belief over any of yours. Instead, we're going to work together to launch a new era of radical transparency. Only through radical transparency can we provide Americans with genuine informed consent, which is the bedrock and the foundation stone of democracy. Transparency allows diverse parties to establish common ground of mutually trusted information. That's a basic precept of science. Results have to be reproducible. The whole experiment has to be open to scrutiny and replication. It's no secret that many of our institutions of democracy, our democracy, of course, but even of science and medicine, are no longer transparent. As a consequence, they have become inefficient, dysfunctional, or corrupt. They have fallen captive to the profit-making industries. They have stagnated in bureaucratic secrecy and in siloing. They have lost touch with ordinary citizens. But here's the paradox that a lot of crusaders need to understand. Most of the people who work in these institutions and agencies and organizations are competent, ethical, and caring, and idealistic. I think that's especially true at HHS. When I was a boy, I particularly admired the scientists that I saw there because I thought these are the smartest people in the world, and yet they're not receiving much money. They're very low paid compared to people who are using high IQs to acquire things and to acquire status and money. That means they must have been motivated by something higher, something more idealistic. And I still believe that today. I believe that most of you here are not here for the money. You don't enter government service to get rich. That's for sure. On a basic level, I trust the idealism of most of the people who work at HHS. I also understand the corrosive power of money as it infiltrates and captures institutions like ours. My goal as secretary here at HHS will be to create a culture of competency, of ethics, of openness, of transparency, of caring, of pride, so that individuals who share these ideals can flourish and thrive. Sure, those who are unwilling to embrace those kind of ideals can retire. And I understand that it is a system and not the people in it that is the main problem. This is how the agencies under the HHS umbrella will recover their reputations as unimpeachable sources of scientific information to guide policymaking, medical professionals, the public, and the whole world. We will remove conflicts of interest from the committees and research partners whenever possible, or balance them with other stakeholders. We will shut the revolving door to reestablish public trust. We will make our data and our policy process so transparent that people won't even have to file a FOIA request. Another reason why our agencies have lost public trust is that they become too politicized. Well, our health should not be a political issue. As I said to President Trump the other day, there's no such thing as Democratic children or Republican children. These are all of our children, and all of us want to keep them healthy. It should be an issue of science and an issue of basic human compassion. Science gets politicized when power and profit are involved, and power and profit are blind to compassion. Reducing the influence of money, therefore, goes hand in hand with depoliticizing HHS. I've spoken of science, and now let me speak about compassion. HHS is the home to programs like Medicare and Medicaid, and between them serve over 160 million Americans. The same DOGE technology that has uncovered vast amounts of waste and fraud can be used to better serve our fellow citizens who depend on these programs to make sure that no one is left behind and no one is left out.
Literally, he just said AI is going through finding these inconsistencies. AI. So again, federal workers who just do paperwork, so what are you going to do? Huh? What are you going to do?
We will aim to set a standard of courtesy, efficiency, professionalism, and integrity that will make HHS again the envy of the world. Let me say one more thing about politicization, and this is personal. As you know, I've come through a very highly polarized confirmation process. The fog of narrative warfare has made it hard to get a sense of who I am and what I believe and what I represent. A lot of times when I read these articles characterizing me, I think to myself, I wouldn't want to work for that guy either. So, since we all are here together, I have a request to make from you, my new colleagues. Let's start a relationship by letting go of any preconceptions that you may have about me, and let's start from square one. Let's establish a mutual intention to work toward what we all care about, the health of the American people. In return, I want to make a promise to all of you. It's also about preconceptions. I'll start by acknowledging that throughout my career, I've asked a lot of difficult questions, and I've come to a lot of unpopular conclusions. I'm going to keep asking those kind of questions. What I promise to you now is to hold my preconceived answers lightly. I promise to be willing to be wrong. I promise to listen to all the stakeholders, all the parties to the conversation, including the ones, especially the ones with whom I've disagreed in the past. I promise to keep an open mind toward every possibility and every contingency. I hope you will all join me in this commitment, because the health of our people is a lot more important than being right or being vindicated. We can start right now. Last Thursday, President Trump signed an executive order to establish the MAHA Commission to study what has caused the precipitous decline in American health over the past 2 generations. So we will convene representatives of all viewpoints to study the causes for the drastic rise in chronic disease.
With all these canceled contracts that they've been finding through Doge, is that money being diverted to these other programs that are actually working? Like all these programs where the money got spent to colleges so they can see what lab rats, how fucking well they fuck on cocaine or PCP or meth or Cheerios.
Some of the possible factors we will investigate were formerly taboo or insufficiently scrutinized. The childhood vaccine schedule, electromagnetic.
Not to mention the billions that's being saved by getting rid of DEI programs.
Radiation, glyphosate, other pesticides, ultra-processed foods, artificial food additives, SSRI and other psychiatric drugs, PFAs, PFOAs, microplastics. Nothing is going to be off limits. Whatever belief or suspicion I have expressed in the past, I'm willing to subject them all to the scrutiny of unbiased science. That is going to be our template, unbiased science. That's something that will make us all proud of this agency and of our role in restoring American health. Let's commission research that will satisfy all the stakeholders once and for all. Let's use protocols that we all agree on in advance and not alter the outcomes of studies when they're halfway through and that they look inconvenient. Let's all depoliticize these issues and reestablish a common ground for action and renew the search for existential truth with no political impediments and no preconceptions. Finally, I want to ask you to think about an even larger challenge to this agency. If we're really going to end the chronic disease epidemic, we need to recognize the connection between the physical decrepitude that now beleaguers our citizenry and the pervasive spiritual malaise that has left so many young people feeling alienated, dispossessed, disconnected, purposeless, and hopeless. Spiritual and physical maladies thrive on one another. They feed on one another. Our overall wellness must begin with a spiritual question. How do we relate to ourselves, to each other, to our communities, and to the planet? Vested interests in malignant political actors profit and flourish when we are atomized and fragmented, and uncertain when we can be easily propagandized, when we live in fear and helplessness and victimization. These forces prefer to have us in terror and anxiety, which disable our capacity for critical thinking and make us more compliant and more credulous. They want us hiding from ourselves to avoid our own shadows and dulling our pain and loneliness through sedation and distraction. Yet inside of us, we know that love and self-knowledge are the only true paths to good health. Here at HHS, we need to take on the task of guiding our country and the world to question, towards skepticism, towards engagement, to discover our own paths to living our fullest lives, unleashing the potential in every one of us to make good personal choices that allow us to nourish, to heal, and to develop ourselves. Only this path will make us effective citizens in a democracy. This is decidedly the American identity that we want for our children and their children. Through our own example of dedication and integrity, we can inspire our country on the mission toward well-being and toward achieving our historic mission as an exemplary nation. The goals that I have for HHS, the goals of transparency, of informed choice, of integrity, of efficiency, are possible only with your help. This task before us is historic to reverse a trend of worsening health that goes back 60 years. And I know that we can do it. I know a higher standard of health is possible. I know that because I remember a time that our country was the healthiest and most robust country on earth. With your help and commitment, we can go back to that time. We can have that again. Now let's get to work. And
You know, do I think he can make 1, 2, 3, 4? Yep. He's going to make a difference. Well, he can. But if you have federal judges that are out there literally blocking everything that Trump has done as an executive order to, save the country money, to make us safer, to make us healthier, and you have judges out there like, yeah, nah, we're going to ban you from doing that. This is why government doesn't work. Because if something's made to fix it, they're going to make it to where you can't do it. Right? It's fucking dumb. Those judges need to be reevaluated every fucking 5 years. Anyway. I'm not telling y'all how to think. God damn it. I'm just telling y'all to think. And hopefully you learned something today. I know I really didn't because I've already watched most of these. But with that being said, I hope y'all have a good rest of your day.